I was never supposed to fall for my boss, especially not a man like Stefano Morno, ruthless, feared, and untouchable. I was just his assistant, invisible behind my desk. But everything changed the night he saw another man's hand on my waist. That night is burned into my memory, but I should start at the beginning. 3 years ago, when I first walked into his office. I remember my hands shaking as I smoothed down my pencil skirt. The elevator to the top floor of the Morno Industries building felt like it took forever. Everyone knew what Stefano Morno really was beneath the legitimate businessman facade. The whispers followed his name through the city like smoke: mafia boss, dangerous, ruthless. But I needed the job. My student loans weren't going to pay themselves, and the salary his company offered was triple what I could make anywhere else. "Miss Loretti," a deep voice made me jump. I turned to find him standing in his office doorway. Stefano Morno was nothing like the old, heavy-set mob bosses from movies. He was 35, tall, with dark hair perfectly styled and eyes so dark they looked black. His suit probably cost more than my car. "Yes, Mr. Morno, I'm here for the assistant position." He studied me for a long moment. I forced myself not to fidget under his gaze. "If you think I was right by opting for the assistant position opportunity and not letting it slip away, click subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's continue. Can you keep secrets, Miss Loretti?" "Yes." "Can you work long hours without complaining?" "Yes." "Can you follow orders without asking questions?" I hesitated. His lips twitched, almost a smile. "I can follow orders," I said carefully, "but I might ask questions if I think something could be done better." This time he did smile, just barely. "You start Monday." That was 3 years ago. 3 years of working 12-hour days, managing his schedule, screening his calls, and pretending I didn't notice when dangerous-looking men came for meetings that weren't on any official calendar. 3 years of keeping his coffee exactly how he liked it, black with 1 sugar. 3 years of learning to read his moods from the tension in his shoulders or the way he drummed his fingers on his desk. 3 years of falling for a man I could never have. I wasn't stupid. I knew what happened to women who got involved with men like Stefano. They became targets. They became weaknesses, or worse, they became possessions. So I kept my feelings locked away. I was professional, efficient, invisible. Until that night. It was a Friday in October. The Morno family was hosting their annual charity gala, the legitimate kind that brought together the city's elite and helped maintain Stefano's respectable image. I'd been running around all day managing last-minute details. The ballroom at the Ritz looked perfect. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over tables draped in black and gold. Stefano's family colors. I'd actually been allowed to leave early to get ready. Stefano insisted all his employees attend these events. "Image matters," he always said. I splurged on a new dress, deep red, simple but elegant. It hugged my curves without being inappropriate. I even had my hair professionally styled, dark waves falling over my shoulders. When I walked into the ballroom, I felt almost beautiful. "Angela, you clean up nice." I turned to find Marco, Stefano's right-hand man, grinning at me. Marco was like the older brother I never had, protective, teasing, and completely loyal to Stefano. "Thanks, Marco. You don't look bad yourself." He laughed, adjusting his bow tie. "Where's the boss? I figured you'd be attached to his hip as usual." Heat rushed to my cheeks. "I'm off duty tonight, just a guest like everyone else." "Sure you are." Marco's knowing look made me uncomfortable. "He's by the bar, by the way. Fair warning, he's in a mood." I glanced toward the bar and immediately found Stefano. He was impossible to miss. While every other man wore a standard black tuxedo, his had subtle details that set him apart: the perfect cut, the dark gray vest, the way he held himself like he owned the room. Because he did. Our eyes met across the crowded ballroom. For a moment, the noise faded away. His gaze traveled down my dress, then back to my face. Something flickered in his expression: surprise, approval, Then his usual mask slipped back into place and he turned away. My heart sank, of course. I was still just the assistant, even in a nice dress. Angela Loretti, is that you? I spun around to find Luca Bianchi smiling at me. Luca and I had grown up in the same neighborhood. We dated briefly in high school before going our separate ways. He was handsome in that easy, cheerful way, the complete opposite of Stefano's dark intensity. Luca, what are you doing here? My firm handled some contracts for Morno Industries, got invited to the party. He gave me an appreciative look. You look absolutely stunning. Thank you. It felt nice to be noticed, to be seen as more than an efficient assistant. Dance with me, Luca held out his hand. For old time's sake. I hesitated, glancing toward the bar. Stefano was deep in conversation with some city officials. He wouldn't notice or care if I danced. Sure. Luca led me onto the dance floor just as the band started a slow song. His hand settled on my waist, warm and familiar. We fell into an easy rhythm. So, Angela Loretti working for the infamous Stefano Morno, Luca said with a teasing smile. Should I be worried about you? It's just a job, a very well-paying job. Hum. And the fact that your boss looks like he stepped out of a GQ magazine has nothing to do with it. Luca, I smacked his shoulder lightly. He laughed, spinning me. I'm kidding, though seriously, the way he was looking at you earlier, if looks could kill, I'd be dead. Don't be ridiculous. Stefano barely knows I exist beyond scheduling his meetings. If you say so, Luca pulled me a little closer. You know, I always regretted how things ended between us. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime, catch up properly. Before I could answer, a hand clamped down on Luca's shoulder. Hard. Mind if I cut in? Stefano's voice was calm, controlled, but I knew him well enough to hear the edge underneath. Luca's face paled as he recognized who was behind him. Of course, Mr. Morno, she's all yours. The words hung in the air as Luca quickly walked away. Stefano's hand replaced Luca's on my waist, his other taking my hand. His touch was different, possessive, where Luca's had been gentle, burning through the thin fabric of my dress. Mr. Morno, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I didn't think you danced. I don't. Yet here we were, swaying to the music. He held me closer than was strictly professional. Close enough that I could smell his cologne, something expensive and masculine that made my head spin. That man, Luca, he's a friend of yours. We grew up together. Just friends. I looked up at him, confused by the intensity in his voice. We dated in high school, years ago. Why does it matter? His jaw clenched. It doesn't. But the way his hand tightened on my waist said otherwise. We danced in tense silence for a moment. Around us, people were definitely starring. Stefano Morno didn't dance. He certainly didn't dance with his assistant. People are watching, I whispered. Let them. Sir. Stop calling me that. His voice was rough. Not tonight. Then what should I call you? He looked down at me, and for once, his carefully controlled expression cracked. I saw something raw and hungry in his eyes that made my breath catch. My name, just my name. Stefano. It felt forbidden on my lips. His hand slid lower on my back, pressing me against him. That man, Luca, he wants you. We're just friends. Don't be naive, Angela. I saw how he looked at you, how he touched you. You mean like a normal person. Not everyone is emotionally constipated like. I caught myself, horrified. But instead of getting angry, Stefano almost smiled. Like me. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. His thumb brushed over my knuckles. You always say exactly what you think. It's refreshing and frustrating. I should go, I said weakly. This was too much, too confusing. The heat of his body, the intensity of his gaze, I was going to do something stupid if I stayed. No. Stefan. I said no. His voice dropped lower, dangerous. You're not going back to him. You don't get to tell me what to do outside of work. Don't I? The arrogance in his voice should have made me angry. Instead, it sent heat straight through me. This was bad. This was so bad. I need air, I said, pulling away from him. I didn't wait for his response. I walked quickly through the ballroom, ignoring Marco's concerned look, ignoring Luca trying to catch my eye. I pushed through the balcony doors and into the cool October night. The city stretched out below, lights twinkling like stars. I gripped the railing and tried to catch my breath. What was happening? In 3 years, Stefano had never shown any personal interest in me. Now suddenly, because another man paid attention to me, he was acting like. Like what? Like he was jealous. Running away doesn't solve anything. I didn't turn around. I knew he'd followed me. Stefano Morno always got the last word. I'm not running. I'm trying to maintain professional boundaries. Professional boundaries, he laughed, but there was no humor in it. Is that what you call dancing with Bianchi, his hands all over you? His hands were not all over me. We were dancing, like normal people do at parties. You're not just people, Angela. I spun to face him. What's that supposed to mean? He stepped closer, backing me against the railing. It means you're mine. I'm your assistant, not your property. He stopped, his jaw working like he was fighting against words that wanted to escape. I'm what Stefano, say it. He was so close now I could feel his breath on my face. His hands gripped the railing on either side of me, caging me in. The city lights reflected in his dark eyes, making them look like midnight. You're the first thing I think about when I wake up, he said roughly. You're the last voice I want to hear before I sleep. You're the only person who isn't afraid to challenge me, to call me on my shit. You bring me coffee exactly how I like it without being asked. You smile at everyone but me, and I hate it. I hate that you keep yourself at a distance. I hate that you call me Mr. Morno like I'm nothing to you. And I really fucking hate seeing another man's hands on you. I couldn't breathe. Stefano. I know what I am, Angela. I know what my life is. I know I have no right to feel this way. But watching you laugh with him, watching you let him touch you. His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing my cheek. It made me want to kill him, and that's when I knew I was completely fucked. You can't just, my voice shook. You ignored me for 3 years, 3 years of nothing but professional distance. And now, because another man shows interest, suddenly you want me. I've wanted you since the day you walked into my office. His confession was quiet, almost pained. But wanting and taking are different things. I'm not a good man, Angela. I've done things that would horrify you. I have enemies who would use you against me. Being with me would put a target on your back. So what? You were just going to pine from a distance forever. I was managing, until tonight, until I saw you in that dress, looking like everything I can't have, until he touched you. His hand slid into my hair. I'm not a good man, but I'm also not a man who shares. I'm not yours to share or not share. No, he leaned closer, his lips almost brushing mine. Then why is your heart racing? Why are you trembling? Because you're scaring me. He pulled back immediately, his face stricken. Angela. No, not like that. I grabbed his jacket before he could move away completely. You're scaring me because you're making me want things I shouldn't want. You're my boss. You're dangerous. You're everything I should stay away from. But when you look at me like that... Like what? Like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. He made a sound that was almost a groan. You are. God help me, you are. Mr. Morno, Marco's voice cut through the moment. He stood in the doorway, looking uncomfortable. Sorry to interrupt, but there's a situation. Stefano's entire demeanor changed in an instant. The vulnerable man who just confessed his feelings vanished, replaced by the cold, controlled boss I knew. What kind of situation? The Torresi family just showed up, uninvited. Tension radiated from Stefano. The Torresi family was his biggest rival, always pushing boundaries, always testing limits. How many? 5, including Vincent. Vincent Torresi. I'd heard the name whispered in fear. He was younger than Stefano, but twice as vicious, with none of Stefano's code of honor. Stay here, Stefano ordered me. But that's not a request, Angela. His hand brushed my arm, gentle despite his harsh tone. Please, just this once, don't argue with me. He walked back inside with Marco, leaving me alone on the balcony with my heart still racing and my lips still tingling from his almost kiss. I lasted maybe 5 minutes before curiosity won. I crept to the doorway and peered inside. The party's atmosphere had changed. The crowd had parted, creating a circle around 2 groups of men. Stefano stood with Marco and a few others I recognized as his security. Across from them stood the Torresi group. Vincent Torresi looked like a snake in an expensive suit. He was handsome in a sharp, dangerous way, with slicked-back blonde hair and a smile that never reached his eyes. Morno, Vincent's voice carried across the room. Beautiful party. My invitation must have gotten lost. You're not welcome here, Torresi. Such hostility, and here I came in peace, even brought a gift. Vincent's eyes scanned the room and landed on me in the doorway. His smile widened. Though I see you already have the most beautiful accessory in the room. Stefano followed his gaze to me, his jaw clenched. Leave, now. Aren't you going to introduce me to your lovely assistant? I hear she's quite efficient. The way he said efficient made my skin crawl. Vincent started walking toward me. I froze, unsure what to do. Stefano moved faster than I'd ever seen him move, blocking Vincent's path. You don't look at her. You don't talk to her. You don't even think about her. Protective, aren't we? She must be special. Vincent's laugh was cold. Everything has a price, Morno. Everyone has a weakness. Good to know yours. Is that a threat? Just an observation. Enjoy your party. Vincent and his men left, but the damage was done. The room buzzed with whispers. Everyone had seen Stefano's reaction, his obvious claim on me. I felt exposed, vulnerable. This was exactly what I'd been afraid of. Being noticed in this world meant being a target. I turned and ran, not to the balcony this time, but to the elevator. I heard Stefano calling my name, but I didn't stop. I needed to get out to think, to breathe. I made it to the parking garage before he caught up. His hand caught my arm, spinning me around. Angela, stop. This is why, I said, tears burning my eyes. This is exactly why nothing can happen between us. 5 minutes of you showing interest in me, and I'm already on Vincent Torresi's radar. I'll protect you. You can't protect me from your entire world, Stefano. And I won't be some mob boss's kept woman, hidden away for safety. That's not what I want. Then what do you want? He pulled me against him, his hands framing my face. Everything. I want everything with you. I want to wake up next to you. I want to have dinner with you without pretending it's a business meeting. I want to tell everyone you're mine and dare them to try something. I want you to stop calling me Mr. Morno and start calling me yours. Stefan. But I know I can't have that. I know what I am, what my life is. So I'll take whatever you're willing to give me, even if it's just being your boss who brings you coffee sometimes instead of the other way around. I laughed despite myself, tears spilling over. You don't even know how to work the coffee machine. I'll learn. He wiped my tears with his thumbs. For you, I'll learn. This is insane. You're my boss. You're in the Mafia. You probably have people killed before breakfast. Only on Wednesdays. Stefano. I'm kidding. His forehead pressed against mine. Mostly. I should quit. Find another job. Stay away from you and your dangerous world. You should, he agreed. But will you? I knew the answer. I'd known it for 3 years, every morning when I brought him coffee, every late night when we worked side by side, every time he almost smiled at one of my jokes. No, I whispered. Then what do we do? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed, then his, then both again insistently. We pulled apart, checking our messages. My blood ran cold. The text was from an unknown number, but the message was clear. A photo of me at my apartment that morning, taking out trash. The caption read, "Pretty things break so easily." Pack a bag. Stefano's voice was deadly calm. You're staying at my place tonight. Stefan. This is not up for debate. Someone just threatened you because of me. Until I find out who and deal with it, you're under my protection. I wanted to argue, to maintain my independence, but the photo had shaken me. Someone had been watching me at my own home. Okay, I said quietly. Marco will go with you to get your things. I need to make some calls, find out who's behind this. It's obviously Vincent. Maybe, maybe not. I have other enemies. But whoever it is just made the biggest mistake of their life. The cold fury in his voice should have scared me. Instead, it made me feel safe, protected. We went back upstairs separately. The party was winding down, guests leaving in whispers and worried looks. Marco appeared at my side without being called. Boss filled me in. Let's get you packed. The ride to my apartment was quiet. Marco kept checking the mirrors, taking random turns. Precautions, he said when I looked at him questioningly. My small studio apartment felt different knowing someone had been watching it. I threw clothes and essentials into a bag quickly, not wanting to stay longer than necessary. For what it's worth, Marco said as I zipped the bag, I've never seen him like this. 3 years I've watched him watch you, and tonight's the first time he's shown it. You knew. Everyone knows. Everyone except you, apparently. Marco smiled slightly. He's not an easy man, Angela, but he's a good one in his own way. He takes care of his people, and you've been his people since day one, whether you knew it or not. We drove to Stefano's penthouse in the city. I'd been there once before to drop off urgent documents. It was all dark wood and leather, masculine and expensive. But this time I noticed personal touches, a photo of his late mother on the mantel, books scattered on the coffee table, a guitar in the corner I never knew he played. Guest room is down the hall, Marco said. Boss should be home soon. Lock the door, don't answer for anyone but us. Alone in the guest room, I sat on the bed and tried to process everything. This morning, I'd been Stefano's invisible assistant. Tonight, I was hiding in his penthouse because someone had threatened me, because he'd claimed me publicly, because he'd admitted to wanting me for 3 years. I heard the front door open around 2 a.m. Stefano's voice, low and angry, talking to someone on the phone, then footsteps in the hall, a pause outside my door. A soft knock. Angela, you awake? I opened the door. He'd lost the tuxedo jacket and bow tie, his shirt partially unbuttoned. He looked tired but still dangerous. Did you find out who sent the message? Not yet, but I will. He studied my face. You're scared. Someone was watching my apartment. Of course I'm scared. I meant scared of this, us, what happened tonight. I laughed shakily, terrified. Me too. The admission seemed to surprise him. I don't do this, Angela, I don't feel things. I don't let people close. It's safer that way, cleaner. So what makes me different? He reached out, his fingers brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. Everything. You make me want to be different, better. You make me want impossible things. Like what? Like taking you on a real date. Like holding your hand without worrying who's watching. Like having a normal life where the biggest concern is what to have for dinner, not which enemy is coming for us. You could have that if you walked away from this life. It's not that simple. This isn't just what I do, it's who I am. My family built this empire. People depend on me, and there are rules about leaving. Usually they involve a coffin. That's reassuring. He smiled slightly. I told you I'm not a good man. Maybe not, but you're not as bad as you pretend to be either. How do you know? Because truly bad men don't worry about being bad. They don't protect their employees. They don't donate millions to charity. Yes, I handle your finances. I know about the anonymous donations. They don't play guitar when they think no one's looking. His eyes widened slightly. How did you? There's calluses on your fingertips, and you tap out rhythms when you're thinking, always in complex patterns. Musicians do that. You notice everything. Only about you. The words hung between us, heavy with meaning. He leaned closer, and I thought finally he would kiss me. Instead, he pulled back. You should sleep. It's been a long night. Disappointment flooded through me, but I tried not to show it. Right. Good night, Stefano. Good night, Angela. He walked to his room, and I closed my door, leaning against it. Everything had changed tonight, but somehow we were still dancing around each other, still holding back. My phone buzzed, another unknown number. You can't protect her forever, Morno. This time, there was a video attached. Grainy security footage of me leaving work last week, walking to my car alone. I didn't think. I ran down the hall and burst into Stefano's room without knocking. He was standing by the window, phone in hand, probably seeing the same message. When he saw me, his expression softened. Come here. I crossed to him, and he pulled me against his chest. I could hear his heartbeat, steady and strong. I won't let anything happen to you, he said into my hair. I know. Do you trust me? I pulled back to look at him. With my life. What about with your heart? The question caught me off guard. Stefano. I know I have no right to ask. I know I'm selfish for even wanting you. But I need to know, is there any chance? Any possibility that you could feel for me even a fraction of what I feel for you? I thought about lying, about protecting myself. But standing there in his arms, with danger lurking outside and uncertainty ahead, I couldn't pretend anymore. I've been in love with you for 2 years, I admitted quietly. He went completely still. What? 2 years? Since the Martelli negotiation when you stayed up for 36 hours straight to protect your people's interests. You could have sold them out for profit, but you didn't. You were exhausted and grumpy, and you yelled at everyone except me. And when it was over, you fell asleep at your desk. I covered you with a blanket and you mumbled, "Thank you, Angela Mia," in your sleep. My angel, he translated softly. I called you my angel. You did, and that's when I knew I was completely screwed. He cupped my face in his hands. 2 years, we wasted 2 years. We were being professional. We were being idiots. I laughed, that too. This time when he leaned in, nothing interrupted us. His lips met mine, soft at first, almost hesitant. Then I pressed closer and controls snapped. He kissed me like he was drowning and I was air, like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. Stay, he said roughly. Not like that, just stay with me. I sleep better when you're close. Okay. We lay on his massive bed, still fully clothed, his arms around me. For the first time since seeing that photo, I felt truly safe. We'll figure this out, he murmured against my hair. The threat us everything. I know. But Angela. Yeah. No more dancing with Luca Bianchi. I smiled against his chest. Jealous. Extremely. Good. He laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest. You're going to be trouble, aren't you? You have no idea. But as I fell asleep in his arms, I couldn't shake the feeling that the trouble was just beginning. I woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, I was disoriented. Then the memories crashed back. The gala, Vincent Torresi, the threats, Stefano's confession, that kiss. I was alone in his bed, but the pillow beside me still held the indent of his head. The clock read 10 a.m. I never slept this late, but then again, I'd never been threatened by unknown enemies or kissed by my mafia boss either. I found Stefano in the kitchen, dressed in jeans and a black Henley, looking more relaxed than I'd ever seen him. He was actually attempting to use the coffee machine. Need help? I asked. He turned, and his face lit up when he saw me. I wanted to bring you coffee in bed. Turns out this machine is more complicated than restructuring international trade agreements. I laughed, moving beside him. Here, let me. Our hands brushed as I took over, and electricity shot through me. In the morning light, what happened last night felt surreal. Was this really happening? Was I really standing in Stefano Morno's kitchen making coffee like we were a normal couple? Second thoughts. His voice was careful, guarded. No, you. Never. He moved behind me, his arms caging me against the counter. But we need to talk about what happens now. What do you mean? I mean you can't go back to your apartment. Not until I find who's threatening you. you'll stay here. I turned in his arms. Stefano, I can't just move in with you. What will people think? I don't care what people think. Well, I do. I'm your assistant. If people find out I'm living with you, then they'll know you're under my protection. They'll think I'm sleeping with you for job security. His jaw clenched. Anyone who says that will regret it. You can't threaten everyone who gossips about me. Watch me. I sighed. This is what I was afraid of. You're already going into overprotective mode. Someone threatened you because of me. Of course I'm protective. I need to maintain some independence, Stefano. I can't just hide in your penthouse forever. It won't be forever, just until I handle this. And then what? We go back to being boss and assistant. Pretend last night never happened. He pulled me closer. Is that what you want? No, but I don't know what the alternative is. You're still my boss. You're still in the mafia. Those things haven't changed. You're right. He was quiet for a moment. You could quit. What? Quit being my assistant. I'll give you a glowing reference, help you find something else. Then we wouldn't have the professional conflict. The thought of not seeing him every day, not being part of his life, made my chest ache. Is that what you want? No, selfishly I want you close, but I want you to have choices, real ones. Before I could respond, his phone rang. Marco. Yeah, Stefano answered, putting it on speaker. Boss, we have a problem. There was an incident at Angela's apartment building. My blood ran cold. What kind of incident? Someone broke into your apartment last night, destroyed everything, and they left a message. What message? Stefano's voice was deadly calm. Written on the wall in red paint, she can't hide forever. I sank into a chair, my legs weak. My apartment, my safe space, violated. I'm sending a cleaning crew, Marco continued, but Angela can't go back there. She's not going to, Stefano said firmly. Double the security here, and I want eyes on everyone who's shown interest in her lately, including Luca Bianchi. Especially him. Stefano, I protested. Luca wouldn't. Anyone could be involved. Until I know for sure, everyone's a suspect. He ended the call and knelt in front of me. I'm sorry. I'll replace everything that was damaged. It's not about the stuff. My voice shook. Someone was in my home, touching my things because of what? Because you danced with me. Because they want to hurt me, and they think you're the way to do it. Are they right? He took my hands. Yes, which is why I need you close, where I can protect you. This is crazy. A week ago, my biggest problem was making sure your meetings didn't overlap. Now I'm in hiding because someone wants to use me against you. I can send you away, he said quietly. Somewhere safe until this is over. No, the word came out sharper than intended. I'm not running, and I'm not leaving you. Relief flickered across his face. Then we do this together. Together? He kissed my forehead and stood. I have to go to the office. Handle some things. Marco will stay with you. I could come with you. Work helps me think. Absolutely not. The office is too exposed. So I'm just supposed to sit here all day. Just for today. Please, Angela, let me make sure it's safe first. I wanted to argue, but the fear in his eyes stopped me. He was genuinely terrified for my safety. Fine, but I'm working from here. Send me the files for the Morrison deal. You don't have to. I'm still your assistant, aren't I? Until I decide otherwise, I have a job to do. He smiled slightly. Stubborn. You love it. I do. The simple admission made my heart skip. He kissed me goodbye, a soft, lingering kiss that promised more later, and left with half his security team. Marco stayed behind, setting up in the living room. Make yourself comfortable, he said. We might be here a while. I spent the day working on my laptop, trying to focus on contracts and schedules instead of the fact that someone had destroyed my apartment. Around 3 p.m., my phone rang. Luca. I hesitated, then answered. Hey. Angela, I've been trying to reach you. Are you okay? I heard there was some drama after I left the gala. I'm fine. How did you hear about that? Vincent Torresi's been bragging all over town about rattling Stefano Morno's cage, something about finding his weakness. Luca paused. That's you, isn't it? You're his weakness. It's complicated. Angela, these people are dangerous. Whatever's going on between you and Morno, you need to be careful. I know what I'm doing, Luca. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're caught in the middle of a mob war. Before I could respond, Marco held out his hand for my phone. His expression was serious. I have to go, I told Luca. Angela, wait. I hung up and handed the phone to Marco. Boss isn't going to like that you talk to him, Marco said. Boss doesn't control who I talk to. Marco raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? As if summoned, Stefano walked through the door earlier than expected. His expression was dark, controlled in that way that meant he was furious. Marco, give us the room. Marco left without a word. Stefano loosened his tie, his movements sharp. What's wrong? I asked. Luca Bianchi visited Vincent Torresi this morning. My stomach dropped. What? My sources saw them having coffee, laughing, looking very friendly. He poured himself a whiskey. Still think he's harmless. There has to be an explanation. There is. He's working with Torresi. Has been for months, apparently. His law firm handles some of Torresi's legitimate businesses. I felt sick. That doesn't mean he's involved in the threats. No, he shows interest in you at the gala. Torresi immediately notices you. The threats start that same night. That's a hell of a coincidence. Luca wouldn't hurt me. Maybe not directly, but he might feed information to someone who would. Stefano's control cracked slightly. He called you today. It wasn't a question. He was concerned. He was fishing for information, probably trying to figure out where you are. You don't know that. I know that anyone connected to Torresi is a threat, and I know that you're too trusting. And you're paranoid. I'm careful, there's a difference. He moved closer. This is my world, Angela. I know how it works. People use whatever leverage they can find, and right now you're leverage. So what? I'm just supposed to cut off everyone I know. If they're connected to my enemies, yes. That's insane. That's survival. He cupped my face. I can't lose you, not when I just found you. You don't own me, Stefano. No, but I protect what's mine. And I'm yours. Aren't you? The possessiveness in his voice should have made me angry. Instead, it sent heat through my entire body. That's not how relationships work, I said weakly. This isn't a normal relationship. You can say that again. He kissed me then, hard and demanding. When he pulled back, we were both breathing heavily. No more contact with Bianchi, he said against my lips. Stefan, please, just until I figure out his involvement. I wanted to argue, but the fear in his eyes stopped me again. Fine, but you have to stop making unilateral decisions about my life. I'll try. Try harder. Despite everything, he smiled. You're the only person who talks to me like that. Someone has to keep you humble. Humble isn't really in my vocabulary. I've noticed. We were interrupted by Marco returning. Boss, we have a visitor. Who? Your sister. Stefano groaned. Perfect timing as always. I'd heard about Isabella Morno, but never met her. She was 5 years younger than Stefano, beautiful, brilliant, and completely uninvolved in the family business. She was a doctor, pediatric surgeon, the one Morno who'd gone legitimate. She swept in like a hurricane, all designer clothes and righteous anger. She looked like a feminine version of Stefano, same dark hair, same intense eyes, same commanding presence. You bastard, she smacked Stefano's arm. I have to hear from Vincent Torresi that my brother has a girlfriend. You talked to Torresi. Stefano's voice was dangerously low. He cornered me at the hospital, made some very interesting insinuations about your assistant. Her gaze landed on me. You must be Angela. Yes, nice to meet you. She studied me with the same intensity Stefano often did. You're prettier than I expected. Thanks. Bella, Stefano warned. What? I'm being nice. I'm also curious how my emotionally stunted brother managed to land someone normal. I'm standing right here, Stefano said. I know, that's why I'm saying it. She turned back to me. Has he threatened anyone for looking at you yet? Yes. Has he gone into overprotective caveman mode? Completely. Has he actually told you he loves you, or is he still emotionally constipated? Bella, Stefano snapped. She ignored him. Well, I glanced at Stefano, whose face had gone carefully blank. We're working on communication. God, you're perfect for him. Someone who can speak his language, emotionally repressed with a side of control issues. I hate you, Stefano told his sister. No, you don't. She hugged him, and his expression softened. But you need to be careful. Torresy's spreading rumors. Says you've gone soft, that you have a weakness now. Let him talk. He's not just talking. He's planning something. I have friends who hear things. He wants to expand into your territory, and he thinks using her, she nodded at me, is the way to do it. How do you know this? Because unlike you, I maintain relationships with people outside our immediate circle. People tell me things. Stay out of it, Bella. Like hell, you're my brother, and if Angela's important to you, she's important to me. She looked at me again. Fair warning, dating a Morno is complicated. We're possessive, stubborn, and terrible at expressing feelings, but we're loyal to a fault. Once we love someone, it's forever. Bella, Stefano's voice held warning. What? Someone has to give her the family orientation since you're apparently incapable of normal relationship discussions. She pulled out her phone. What's your number? We should have lunch. I gave it to her, ignoring Stefano's disapproving look. Perfect, I'll text you. She kissed Stefano's cheek. Be careful, brother, and try to use actual words to express your feelings. Angela seems patient, but not infinitely so. She left as dramatically as she'd arrived. I'm sorry about her, Stefano said. I like her. Of course you do. You both enjoy tormenting me. Someone has to. I studied him. Is it true, what she said about Torresy planning something? Probably. He's been testing boundaries for months. This situation with you just accelerated things. So I'm the catalyst for a mob war. No, you're the excuse for something that was always going to happen. He pulled me against him. But I won't let him use you. Whatever he's planning, I'll stop it. How? You don't want to know. Yes, I do. If I'm part of this now, I need to understand what we're facing. He was quiet for a long moment. There are rules in our world, lines you don't cross. Families, children, legitimate businesses, they're supposed to be off limits. But Torresy doesn't follow the old rules. He thinks they make us weak. And you follow them. Always. It's what separates us from common criminals. So you're an honorable criminal. Something like that. He smiled slightly. My father taught me that power without principle is just tyranny. We may operate outside the law, but we have our own code. And Torresy, breaking that code means what? It means the other families won't support him if things escalate, but it also means he'll fight dirty. Before I could respond, Marco burst in. Boss, we have a problem. Another one. The Manhattan property. There's been an explosion. Stefano went rigid. Casualties. 3 injured, none critical, but boss, it was definitely deliberate. The Manhattan property was one of Stefano's legitimate businesses, a restaurant that served as neutral ground for family meetings. Torresy, Stefano said coldly. Has to be, but we can't prove it. Get everyone out, shut it down until further notice. Stefano was already moving, grabbing his jacket. I need to handle this. I'm coming with you, I said. Absolutely not. Stefan. This is exactly what he wants. To draw me out, make me vulnerable. You stay here where it's safe. While you walk into what might be a trap. I'll be fine. You don't know that. He kissed me hard. I'll be fine because I have something to come back to now. Stay here, please. He left before I could argue, taking most of the security with him. Only Marco and 2 others remained. He'll be okay, Marco said, seeing my expression. He's handled worse. But as the hours passed with no word, my anxiety grew. The news reported the explosion as a gas leak, but I knew better. This was escalation. This was war. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. He can't protect you if he's dead. Attached was a photo, Stefano's car, surrounded by Torres's men. It was recent, maybe minutes old. I showed Marco, my hands shaking. Shit, he was already moving, calling for backup. Stay here, lock the door, don't open it for anyone. Where are you going? To help the boss. I'm coming. No, your safety is his priority. I won't let you risk yourself. He handed me a gun. You know how to use this. No. Point and shoot. Safety's here. Only use it if you have to. They left and I was alone. The penthouse felt too big, too quiet. Every sound made me jump. The gun felt heavy and wrong in my hands. 20 minutes passed. 30. My phone rang, Stefano's number. Thank God, I answered. Are you okay? Hello, beautiful. It wasn't Stefano. It was Vincent Torresi. My blood turned to ice. Where is he? He's here. A little worse for wear, but alive for now. What do you want? Simple, you for him. Come to the warehouse on Pier 47. Alone. You have 30 minutes or I start cutting pieces off your boyfriend. If you hurt him. 30 minutes, starting now. The line went dead. I stood frozen for a moment. Then I grabbed my coat and the gun. I knew it was a trap. I knew I should wait for Marco, call for help. But then I thought about Stefano hurt, maybe dying, because of me. I couldn't wait. I took the service elevator to avoid any security that might have stayed behind. The city was quiet at this hour, just occasional taxis and late-night stragglers. I caught a cab to a block away from the pier and walked the rest. The warehouse loomed dark against the water. No signs of life, but I knew they were watching. I pushed open the door. Punctual, I like that. Vincent stood in the center of the empty space, surrounded by his men. And there, tied to a chair, blood on his face, was Stefano. Let him go, I said. So brave, so loyal. Vincent walked closer. You know, I didn't understand his obsession with you at first. You're beautiful, sure, but Stefano could have any woman. Then I realized it's not about beauty, it's about power. You're the one person who makes him weak. I'm nobody special, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. No, then why did he lose his famous control the moment I mentioned your name? Why did 4 of my men end up in the hospital? Because they were at your apartment building. I glanced at Stefano. His head was down, but I could see his chest rising and falling. Alive. What do you want, Vincent? Originally, I wanted his territory, his connections. But now I realize taking you would hurt him more than taking everything else combined. So take me, let him go. Angela, no. Stefano's voice was rough, pained. He lifted his head and our eyes met. One eye was swollen shut, lips split. But his gaze was fierce. Get out of here. Touching, Vincent said. But she's not going anywhere. Neither of you are. The other families won't stand for this, Stefano said. You've broken every rule. The rules are outdated. The old men who made them are dead or dying. It's time for new leadership. My leadership. You mean chaos? I mean progress. Vincent pulled out a knife, running his finger along the blade. But first, I need to make an example. Show everyone that the great Stefano Morno isn't invincible. He moved towards Stefano, and I acted without thinking. Wait, I stepped forward. You're right, I am his weakness. But killing him won't prove you're stronger. It just proves you're scared of facing him fairly. Vincent paused, turning to me with interest. Go on. You want the other families to respect you. Follow you? They won't follow a coward who kills a tied-up man, but they might follow someone who defeats Stefano Morno in a fair fight. Angela, stop, Stefano growled. I ignored him. Let him go, face him one-on-one, prove you're the stronger leader. Vincent laughed. You think I'm stupid, the moment I untie him. You have 20 men here, he's injured. I'm insurance that he won't try to escape. I moved closer to Vincent, letting his men grab my arms. You want to be the new king, prove you deserve it. Vincent studied me for a long moment, then he smiled. You know what? You're right, cut him loose. Vincent, one of his men protested. Do it. They cut Stefano's bonds. He stood slowly, unsteady. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye. Old rules or new, Vincent said, tossing the knife aside and raising his fists. I can beat you either way. Stefano wiped blood from his mouth. We'll see. They circled each other. Despite his injuries, Stefano moved with controlled grace. Vincent was younger, fresher, but Stefano had experience. Vincent struck first, a quick jab that Stefano barely dodged. They traded blows, brutal and efficient. This wasn't a movie fight, it was ugly, desperate, real. Stefano took a hard hit to his already injured ribs and went down on one knee. Vincent moved in for the kill. The warehouse door exploded open. Marco and Stefano's men flooded in, weapons drawn. In the chaos, I broke free from the men holding me. Gunfire erupted. I dove behind some crates. The gun Marco gave me clutched in my shaking hands. Through the chaos, I saw Stefano and Vincent still fighting, oblivious to the battle around them. Then I saw one of Vincent's men, aiming at Stefano's back. I didn't think. I raised the gun and pulled the trigger. The shot went wide, but it was enough. The man ducked and Marco took him down. More of Stefano's men arrived. The tide turned. Vincent's men started surrendering or fleeing. Vincent himself stood in the center, breathing hard, surrounded. Stefano faced him, bloodied but standing. It's over, Stefano said. Is it? Vincent smiled, that cold snake smile. You think this ends with me? There are others who think like I do, who are tired of the old ways. Then I'll deal with them too. Not if they come for her first. Stefano moved so fast I barely saw it. His fist connected with Vincent's jaw, dropping him. Take him to the families, Stefano told Marco. Let them deal with their rule breaker. As Marco's men dragged Vincent away, Stefano turned to me. His expression was unreadable. You came for me, he said quietly. You would have done the same. That's different. Why? Because you're the big bad mafia boss and I'm just the assistant. Because I can't lose you, his voice cracked. When I saw you walk through that door, I've never been more terrified in my life. Now you know how I felt when they took you. He pulled me against him, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. Don't ever do that again. Don't get kidnapped again, and I won't have to. Despite everything, he laughed. Deal. Marco approached. Boss, we need to get you to a hospital. I'm fine. You have at least 2 broken ribs and need stitches. I said I'm fine. Stefano, I said firmly. Hospital now. He looked at me for a long moment, then sighed. Fine, but you're coming with me. Where else would I go? The hospital treated Stefano under a fake name. Apparently, they had an arrangement for situations like this. 3 broken ribs, a mild concussion, 15 stitches. He was lucky. Isabella showed up within an hour, somehow knowing exactly where we were. You're an idiot, she told Stefano as she checked his injuries herself. Nice to see you too. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. Because of her, Isabella nodded at me. Marco told me what happened. She saved you. She shouldn't have been there at all. But she was. Because she loves you, you emotionally stunted moron. Stefano looked at me. You risked everything. So did you. That's my job. And loving you is apparently mine. Isabella made a sound that might have been approval. Finally, someone who can match your stubbornness. She left us alone after making Stefano promise to rest. We sat in silence for a moment. I love you, he said suddenly. I should have said it before, when I had you safe in my home when we weren't covered in blood in a hospital. But I love you, Angela, completely, Desperately. Forever. Tears burned my eyes. I love you too. I don't deserve you. Probably not. He smiled slightly. But you're stuck with me now. I can live with that. He kissed me gently, mindful of his split lip. When we pulled apart, his expression was serious. Things are going to change. With Vincent gone, there'll be a power shift. It might get dangerous again. When is your life not dangerous? Fair point. He took my hand. I meant what I said before. You could walk away. Find a normal life with a normal man who doesn't come with enemies and violence. Do you want me to? Never. Then stop trying to push me away. Old habit. Break it. 3 weeks passed. Vincent was dealt with by the families. I didn't ask for details, and Stefano didn't offer them. My apartment was repaired, but I hadn't gone back. I was still staying at Stefano's penthouse, though we maintained separate bedrooms. We were taking things slow, learning each other outside the crisis that had brought us together. I'd submitted my resignation as his assistant, but he wouldn't accept it. I need you, he said simply when I pressed the issue. You need an assistant. That doesn't have to be me. No one else knows me like you do. That's exactly why I shouldn't be your assistant anymore. The lines are too blurred. We were in his office, having this argument for the 3rd time this week. Outside, the city hummed with life, unaware of the drama playing out in the towering penthouse office. Then be something else, he said suddenly. Like what? My operations manager. Same access, same knowledge, but overseeing all administrative functions instead of just mine. That's just a fancy title for the same job. It's a promotion, with a significant raise, and it would put a layer between us professionally. You'd report to the board, not directly to me. I considered it. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. I'll think about it. He came around the desk, pulling me from my chair and against him. I have a better idea. Oh. Marry me. I froze. What? Marry me. Then the professional conflict becomes irrelevant because you'd be family. Stefano, that's not how it works. Why not? Because you can't propose to someone as a solution to an HR issue. I'm not. He cupped my face. I'm proposing because I love you, because I want to wake up next to you every morning. Because when Vincent had me, all I could think about was that I'd never told you how much you mean to me. Because you're brave and stubborn and you bring me coffee exactly how I like it. Stefan. Because you see past what I am to who I am. Because you're not afraid to challenge me. Because you walked into danger for me without hesitation. This is crazy. We've only been together 3 weeks. We've been together 3 years. We just didn't admit it until 3 weeks ago. He had a point, but still. I can't marry you because of a job. Then marry me because you love me. I do love you, but... But what? What are you really afraid of? I pulled away, needing space to think. I'm afraid of losing myself, of becoming just Stefano Morno's wife. I've worked hard to build my career, my independence. I don't want to be a mob wife sitting at home while you handle dangerous business. Is that what you think I want? A trophy wife? He looked genuinely hurt. Angela, I fell in love with your strength, not in spite of it. I don't want to diminish you. I want to stand beside you. Pretty words, but your world doesn't work that way. Mob wives don't get to be partners. My world is changing, has to change. Vincent was wrong about most things, but he was right that the old ways are dying. We can make new rules. Like what? Like having my wife as my business partner. The legitimate side, at least. Like having someone I trust completely helping me transition more of the family business into legal channels. I stared at him. You want to go legitimate? Not entirely. That's impossible. But more than we are now. Yes, for you, for the family we might have someday. He paused. That is, if you want. Children. My voice came out squeaky. Eventually, maybe, if you want. The image hit me unexpectedly. A little boy with Stefano's dark eyes, a little girl with my stubborn streak. It should have terrified me. Instead, it felt right. This is too much, too fast. I said weakly. I don't do anything halfway, Angela. You know that. Before I could respond, Marco burst in without knocking, something he never did. Boss, we have a situation. Another one. The Torresi family is demanding restitution for Vincent. Stefano's expression hardened. Vincent broke the rules. The families agreed. His father doesn't care. He's calling for blood. Marco glanced at me, specifically hers. What? I gasped. He says she caused Vincent's downfall, that she manipulated the situation. He wants her turned over to them for justice. Over my dead body, Stefano snarled. That's probably his backup plan, Marco said grimly. He's gathering support from some of the younger families, the ones who agreed with Vincent about changing the old ways. How many? 3 families so far, maybe more. This was bad. I could see it in the tension radiating from both men. What does this mean? I asked. It means war, Stefano said quietly. Unless what? He looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before, defeated. Unless I give you up. You're not seriously considering. Of course not, but there might be another way. He turned to Marco. Call a meeting of all the families tonight, neutral ground. Boss, that's necessary. Make it happen. Marco left, and Stefano pulled me against him. What are you planning? I asked. Something that should have happened years ago. Change, real change. That night, we arrived at an old church that served as neutral ground for family meetings. Every major crime family in the city was represented. I was the only woman in the room besides Isabella, who'd insisted on coming. She's part of this whether you like it or not, she'd told Stefano. The room was tense. I recognized some faces from the gala, others from newspaper articles about organized crime. These were dangerous men, and many of them were looking at me like I was the enemy. Mr. Torresi stood across the room, his grief twisted into rage. He looked older than his 60 years, diminished by the loss of his son. Let's get this over with, he spat. Hand over the woman who got my son killed. Your son got himself killed by breaking sacred rules, Stefano said calmly. He threatened innocence. He targeted family. He brought his fate on himself. She manipulated him. She saved lives by preventing more bloodshed. Vincent was out of control. He was evolving, moving us forward while you cling to outdated traditions. Those traditions are what separate us from common thugs. Enough! An elderly man I recognized as Don Castellano, the oldest and most respected of the family heads, raised his hand. We're here to prevent war, not start one. Stefano, you asked for this meeting. Speak. Stefano stood, commanding the room's attention. We stand at a crossroads, he began. Vincent Torresi was right about one thing: the world is changing, but he was wrong about how we should change with it. He wanted to abandon all rules, all honor. I proposed something different. Which is? Don Castellano asked. Evolution, not revolution. We gradually shift more operations to legitimate businesses. We maintain our core operations, but with stricter codes. No innocence, no families, no unnecessary violence. And how does that solve the current problem? Mr. Torresi demanded. It doesn't, but this might. Stefano took my hand, pulling me to stand beside him. Angela Loretti is under my protection. More than that, she's going to be my wife. Gasps rippled through the room. Marriage meant something in their world. It meant family, and family was sacred. Furthermore, Stefano continued, she'll be taking over our legitimate operations, all of them. She has the education, the skills, and the integrity to help us transition into the new world without losing our souls. A woman, running family business, someone scoffed. The legitimate side only, Stefano clarified. The traditional operations remain as they are, but gentlemen, look at your own families. How many of your children want this life? How many have the stomach for it? We need to evolve or we'll extinct ourselves. Pretty words, Mr. Torresi said, but my son is still dead. Yes, Stefano said simply, he is. And I'm sorry for your loss, but he made his choices. He came after someone under my protection. He would have killed us both if given the chance. I defended what was mine. Any of you would have done the same. The girl is a weakness, someone called out. She makes you vulnerable. No, Stefano said firmly. She makes me stronger. She makes me better. And if any of you threaten her again, you'll see exactly how strong she makes me. The threat hung in the air, clear and unmistakable. Don Castellano stood slowly. I've heard enough. We vote. All in favor of accepting Stefano's proposal, evolution with honor, the girl under family protection as his intended wife. Hands raised, more than half but not all. Those opposed. The remaining hands, including Mr. Torres's. The majority has spoken, Don Castellano announced. The girl is protected. The families will explore legitimate expansion. But, he looked at Stefano, if this fails, if she brings chaos instead of order, it's on your head. Understood. As the families filed out, Mr. Torresi approached us. This isn't over, he said quietly. My son's blood demands justice. Your son's blood is on his own hands, Stefano replied. But if you come after her, yours will be on mine. They stared at each other for a long moment before Torresi walked away. That went well, Isabella said dryly. We're alive and not at war, Stefano said. I'll take it. Outside the church, Stefano pulled me aside. You know what you just agreed to in there? I asked. To marry you, yes. To make me part of your world, really part of it. You already were, this just makes it official. I haven't actually said yes to your proposal. He smiled. You will. Cocky. Confident. There's no ring. He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. You were saying. Inside was a stunning vintage ring, Art Deco style, with a center diamond surrounded by smaller stones. It was my grandmother's, he said quietly. She was the only other woman who ever stood up to the men in this family. You remind me of her. Stefano. She built half our legitimate businesses while my grandfather ran the other side. They were partners in everything. That's what I want with you. I stared at the ring, then at him. You've been carrying this around. For a week, waiting for the right moment. And you thought a mob meeting, where they discussed whether to kill me was the right moment. I thought any moment where you're alive, and with me is the right moment. Despite everything, I laughed. You're insane. Probably, but you love me anyway. I do. So. I held out my hand. Yes. He slid the ring on my finger, then kissed me deeply, right there on the church steps with his men watching. Mine, he murmured against my lips. Yours, I agreed, but you're mine too. Forever. 6 months later, I stood in front of a mirror in a wedding dress I'd never imagined wearing. It was simple but elegant, much like the life I'd built with Stefano. We'd found our balance. I ran the legitimate side of the business while he handled the traditional operations. We were slowly, carefully, shifting more and more into legal channels. Mr. Torresi had tried one more time to come after me. He hadn't survived the attempt. I didn't ask for details. You look beautiful, Isabella said, adjusting my veil. She'd become my closest friend, the sister I'd never had. I looked terrified. That too, but beautifully terrified. Is it crazy that I'm more nervous about this than I was about facing down Vincent? No, Vincent was just danger. This is life. Real life, it's much scarier. A knock at the door interrupted us. Marco entered, looking uncomfortable in his tuxedo. The boss wants to see you. He can't see me before the wedding, Isabella protested. He says it's important. I sighed. Of course he does. I found Stefano in a side room, packing. He turned when I entered, and his expression stopped my heart. What's wrong? Nothing, everything. He crossed to me. You look incredible. You're not supposed to see me yet. I needed to ask you something, before we do this. If you're having second thoughts. Never, but you might. Stefano, what's going on? He took my hands. I got a call. The FBI is sniffing around. They might come after the family. After me. If they do, you could be implicated. Your legitimate business work could be questioned. Everything you've built could be destroyed. And I need to know you understand that. That marrying me means accepting that risk. Forever. I studied his face. This man who'd been my boss, my protector, my lover, and soon my husband. Do you remember what you told me that first night, after the gala? Which part? You said you knew what you were, what your life was. That being with you would put a target on my back. I remember. And I chose you anyway. I'm still choosing you. FBI, rival families, whatever comes, I'm choosing you. You could have normal. I don't want normal, I want you. I pulled him down for a kiss. Now get out. Isabella's going to kill us both if we ruin the first look moment. He laughed against my lips. I love you. I love you too. Now go. An hour later, I walked down the aisle of the same church where the families had voted on my fate. But this time, it was decorated with flowers, filled with friends and family, both blood and chosen. Stefano waited at the altar, devastating in his black tuxedo. When our eyes met, everyone else faded away. The ceremony was simple, traditional vows with a few personal additions. When Stefano promised to protect and cherish me, I knew he meant it with a fervor most grooms couldn't fathom. When I promised to stand by him for better or worse, I understood exactly what worse might mean. You may kiss the bride. Stefano's kiss was possessive and tender at once, a claim and a promise. The room erupted in applause. At the reception, Don Castellano pulled me aside. You've done something remarkable, he said. You've made Stefano Morno human. He was always human, he just hid it well. Perhaps, but you brought it out of him. That's either a gift or a curse in our world. Why not both? He laughed. Why not indeed? Be careful, Mrs. Morno. You have more influence than you know. Use it wisely. As he walked away, Stefano appeared at my side. What did he want? To give me advice, I think. And to remind me that being your wife means more than just loving you. Are you having second thoughts? Never, but I am wondering what I've got myself into. He spun me onto the dance floor. A life of danger, passion, complicated family dynamics, and really good coffee. You still don't know how to make coffee. But I know how to hire people who do. I laughed. I love you. Even though I'm difficult and dangerous and emotionally constipated, according to my sister. Because of all that, well, except the emotionally constipated part, we're working on that. How am I doing? Better. You told me you loved me 3 times today already. I love you 4 times. Show off. He dipped me dramatically, making me laugh again. Around us, 2 worlds mingled, legitimate business people and criminal families, danger and safety, dark and light. It shouldn't have worked, but somehow it did. Later, as we prepared to leave for our honeymoon, 2 weeks in Italy where Stefano promised no business, just us, Luca approached. I tensed, but Stefano's hand on my back steadied me. Congratulations, Luca said carefully. He looked older, worn down. After the Vincent situation, he'd left his firm, started over. I wanted to apologize. I never meant for any of that to happen. I know, I said, surprising myself by meaning it. You were just caught in the middle. Still, I'm sorry. He looked at Stefano. Take care of her. Always. Luca walked away, and that chapter closed. That was very mature of you, I told Stefano. I can be mature. Since when? Since my wife insists on it. My wife, the word still sent shivers through me. As we got into the car that would take us to the airport, I looked back at the reception still in full swing. Our worlds mixing, evolving, changing. No regrets, Stefano asked. None, you. Only one. What? That it took me 3 years to admit I loved you. We had to be ready, both of us. And now? Now we have the rest of our lives to make up for lost time. He kissed me as the car pulled away and I melted into him. My husband, my choice, my forever. 2 years later, I stood in the office that used to be Stefano's, now mine, overlooking the city. So much had changed. We'd successfully transitioned 60% of operations to legitimate businesses. The FBI investigation had come and gone, finding nothing concrete. 3 more families had adopted our evolution model. "You're supposed to be resting," Stefano's voice came from the doorway. I turned, hand on my growing belly. 6 months pregnant, and I was still working 10-hour days, much to his dismay. "I'm standing. That's basically resting." "That's not how that works." He crossed to me, hands immediately going to my stomach. The baby kicked, making us both smile. "She's active today," I said. And he gets it from his mother. She gets it from her father. We didn't actually know the gender yet, but the argument was a running joke between us. "Marco called," he said. "The Chicago families want to meet about adopting our business model. That's the 4th city this month. You've started something, Mrs. Morneau." "We started something." "No, this was you. Your legitimate success made them believe change was possible. Your protection made it safe to try. We make a good team. The best." He kissed me softly, then pulled back with a serious expression. "There's something else. Torres's cousin is making noise again." The Torres situation had never fully resolved. The old man was dead, but his family held grudges. "What kind of noise?" "The kind that might require old-fashioned solutions." I knew what that meant. Violence, the thing we'd been trying to move away from. "Is there another way?" "Maybe, but it might require you to step back for a while, for safety." "Stefan." "Just until after the baby, please." I wanted to argue, but the baby kicked again, reminding me I had more than myself to think about now. "Fine, but only until after, then I'm back in it." I wouldn't expect anything less. "And you'll be careful." "When am I not careful?" "Do you want the list chronologically or alphabetically?" He laughed. "I love you." "I love you too." As we stood there, looking out at our city, I thought about how far we'd come. From assistant and boss to husband and wife. From traditional crime to evolving empire. From hidden feelings to open love. "Do you ever miss it?" I asked. "The simplicity of before." "Before what?" "Before me, when you were just the scary mob boss and everyone left you alone." "That wasn't simplicity, that was emptiness." He pulled me closer. "You filled spaces I didn't even know were hollow. You made me want things I'd never dared want. You changed everything." "For better or worse?" "Better, always better." Even with the FBI investigations, and rival families, and constant danger. Even with all of that. "You're sure?" He turned me to face him. "Angela, you asked me once what made you different. Do you remember what I said?" "Everything." I meant it. You're everything. My conscience, my heart, my home. You're the reason I'm building something better. The reason I believe we can change without losing ourselves. That's a lot of pressure. You've never shied away from pressure. True, I'd taken on his world, his family, his enemies. I'd helped transform an empire. And now I was about to bring a child into this complicated, dangerous, beautiful life we'd built. "Promise me something," I said. "Anything. Promise me that no matter what happens, rivals, FBI, family drama, we face it together." "Together," he agreed, "always. And promise me you'll finally learn to make coffee before this baby arrives. I'm not going to be able to manage the machine when I'm 9 months pregnant." He laughed. "I'll try." "Try harder." "Yes, ma'am." As the sun set over the city, painting everything gold, I felt a sense of completion. Not ending, but fulfillment. We'd started as boss and assistant, separated by professional boundaries and unspoken feelings. We'd survived jealousy, violence, family politics, and federal investigation. Now we stood together, equals, partners, expecting our first child and building something new from the ashes of the old. "Hey," Stefano said suddenly, "did I ever thank you?" For what? For being brave enough to love me, for seeing past what I was to who I could be, for saving me that night at the warehouse. You saved me too, from a boring, safe, ordinary life. Is that what you wanted? Ordinary? I thought I did. Turns out I wanted extraordinary. I wanted you. He kissed me deeply, one hand in my hair, the other protective over our baby. No regrets, he asked, echoing that night after our wedding. Only one. What? That we don't have more time. A lifetime doesn't feel like enough. Then we'll make the most of what we have. Every second. Starting now. Starting now. 5 years later. Mama, Uncle Marco says Daddy was scary before you fixed him. I looked up from my laptop to find our 4-year-old daughter, Sophia, standing in my office doorway. She had Stefano's dark hair and my stubborn chin, a combination that meant trouble. Uncle Marco talks too much, I said, pulling her onto my lap. And Daddy wasn't broken. He just needed someone to remind him he had a heart. Did you remind him? Every day. Is that why he brings you flowers? One of the reasons. Stefano appeared in the doorway, our 2-year-old son, Marcus, on his shoulders. What are my girls talking about? How Mama fixed you, Sophia announced. She did fix me, Stefano agreed, setting Marcus down to toddle toward us. She made me better. Better at what? Everything. Sophia seemed satisfied with this answer and wiggled down to play with her brother. The meeting, I asked quietly. Done. The last of the Taurasi loyalists agreed to our terms. It's finally over. 5 years of careful negotiation, strategic pressure, and occasional violence had finally ended the Taurasi threat. We were free. So what now? I asked. Now we live. We raise our children. We run our businesses. We have that normal life I promised you. Our life will never be normal. No, he agreed, pulling me up and into his arms. But it's ours. Yours and mine. And theirs, he said, nodding at our children. The next generation of Mornos, God help us all. He laughed. They'll be better than us, smarter, cleaner. They'll have choices we never had. Because of what we're building. Because of what you're building. I'm just along for the ride. Liar. Devoted husband. Dangerous mob boss. Reformed dangerous mob boss. Semi-reformed. That's fair. Sophia tugged on my skirt. Mama, tell us the story. Which story, baby? The one about how you and Daddy falled in love. Fell, I corrected automatically, and it's a long story. We have time, Stefano said, settling on the floor with our children. We have all the time in the world. So I told them the story, edited for young ears, of course, how I'd been Daddy's helper, how we'd been friends who pretended not to care about each other, how Daddy had gotten jealous when another man paid attention to me, how we'd finally admitted we loved each other. I left out the violence, the danger, the moral complexity of our world. There would be time for those truths later. For now, they just needed to know that love could conquer anything, even the walls we build around our hearts. As I talked, Stefano watched me with the same intensity he'd had that first day in his office. But now it was mixed with something else, contentment, peace, joy. And they lived happily ever after, Sophia asked when I finished. They lived happily, I said. The ever after part is still being written. I like that better, she decided. Stories shouldn't end. Our story won't, Stefano promised, his eyes on mine. Not ever. Later, after the children were asleep and we were alone in our bedroom, Stefano pulled me close. Do you ever think about what would have happened if I hadn't gotten jealous that night at the gala? We would have found our way eventually. You think? I know. Some things are inevitable, Stefano. You and me. We were always going to happen. The jealousy just sped things up. I'm glad it did. I hate thinking about more wasted time. No time with you is wasted. Even when I'm being overprotective and controlling. Even then, though you've gotten better about that. I have. Marginally. He laughed. I'll keep working on it. I know you will. Angela. Yes. Thank you. For what? For seeing me, really seeing me, for loving me despite everything, for giving me this life I never dared dream of. Stefan. Yes. Thank you too. For what? For claiming me, for protecting me, for loving me enough to change, for being exactly who you are. Even the dangerous parts. Especially those. They're part of you, and I love all of you. He kissed me then, slow and deep, full of promise and passion and the peculiar tenderness that comes from truly knowing someone. Mine, he murmured against my lips, just as he had years ago. Yours, I agreed, forever. And always. And always. Outside our window, the city hummed with life, dangerous and beautiful, dark and light, constantly changing yet somehow always the same. Just like us, just like our love. He once claimed me out of jealousy, but now he holds me out of love, and I finally know the difference. The difference is everything. The difference is our life. The difference is our story, still being written, one day at a time. Together. Always together. Thank you for watching to the end. Please remember to click the subscribe button and make sure you like this video, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Thank you.